I think it's been a great experience, and people here have been very welcoming. It's been really nice and telling us like how to get around campus and where we can get stuff, where we go to have dinner, things that are really nice to know when you don't know the place. And I've been really impressed about all the initiatives by the students here at campus, also because we watched the
Concepto.
Which was really great. It's very different from the university in Copenhagen. The students don't really run the university as they do here. I think that's really impressive.
The IMT students, because they've really been good at helping us. Because of the course, it's very important for us to go out and study traffic, and if we didn't have them to guide us in the metro or help us to see different areas, then I think none of us would have been able to do the projects.
We studied different topics. So we studied safety, navigation, and urban freight transportation. I was in a group studying urban freight transportation. And in Copenhagen, we studied trucks. So, for example, we went along with trucks delivering food to supermarkets in the morning. And we wanted to do the same thing here. So what we did here, basically, we went out to Delhi and we looked at how is the freight transported within the city of Delhi. And it was a very interesting insight that we received, I think. It helped us to also discover things in Copenhagen that we had not previously discovered. I would say for our project, the biggest learning has been the flexibility that you can see here in India. Not only in the road system, in the traffic that is going on, but you can also see it in the freight system. It's very clearly reflected that people look for alternative ways to do things. While in Copenhagen, there's one way to do it. There's a truck, and you go from A to B, and it's a very effective system, but it's also rigid. And I think at this point we can learn something from India.
What I find most fascinating and exciting here has been the chance to see something which isn't a tourist site. I think Taj Mahal was fantastic. I think it was excellent. But also the chance to see Ghaziabad, because I think if you travel to New Delhi, you would never end up in Ghaziabad. But the going back and forth over to the metro station, I think gave an insight into something you could call everyday life. I mean, that's getting an insight into what it means to be a student in a place like this. Finding out that you live at night when we go to bed. I mean, the whole way you structure your everyday is fascinating. Attending lectures. What does it mean to be a student here? How do you prepare? What is homework? How do you do that? What is a lecture? What's the relationship between professors and the students? I think that's been a really important and great experience for me.
I think we have a lot less classes, at least in our study at Marke, and then maybe 2 classes a week, and then we study a lot. We do a lot of project work and a lot of planning, like sort of shaping, sculpturing our own projects within the class. And I think, in terms of the relationship with teachers, I think it's maybe it's a bit more relaxed in here. Yeah. It's a bit more that you go and knock on the teacher's door and you can ask a question.
And we also have the teacher system in Denmark. I know that different teachers are maybe turning a little bit, they're getting in their job a part of being a little bit of a parent, kind of. They have to nurse the student in a certain ways. It's more, there's a tendency that the students are there to learn, but the teachers are there to teach. And in many ways. And we can go and knock on your door if we have problems, so it's also, and not every teacher does that, but it's more than just in the classroom. I expect that if Mark asks me to write a paper and I'm really struggling with it, I expect that I can go and knock on his door and get help and not just be pushed off. And I don't know how it is here, but that's the kind of
things like that.
But at the same time, it's not all students who dare to do that.
Exactly.
So there's still some sort of
Yeah.
distance or authority.
Yeah.
It's not totally even.
And I don't know, what about you, CBS students? How do you feel? Because we also a mixed group here. We're students from the University of Copenhagen and from Copenhagen Business School. So,
Yeah, we have usually a lot bigger classes than you guys have, I think. And also you had Mark for a whole year, right? So you know him very well, but we change professors every semester and we might be like 100, 120 people in the same room. So then it's less personal, I would say.
yeah.
And also there's no attendance, and usually there's the only time you get graded is one day that you had the exam. So you can practically live in another country and study by yourself. If you, of course, you should go to lecture, but like no one will check.
Yeah, it's a lot more independent
Yeah.
study way of studying. Like it's totally up to yourself at CBS what you get out of it. Because you could study by yourself completely and just go to the exam, or you can go to every class. And we also have fewer classes than here, I think. So it seems like our schedule is basically a lot less like structured than here. Here it's like it seems very certain what you have to do and when, and then there's like a midterm, and then there's a presentation, and then with us it's a lot more just like you participate in what you want to participate in.
And I think there is a bigger amount of homework as well, or expectation
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
prepare more for when you turn up to a class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have maybe some literature or something you have to read before you go to the class, and then the literature has not been talked through, then it's been discussed. So if you haven't read it from home, then it can be difficult to keep track of the discussion. But in general, I think the student life is just really different, also because we don't live where we study. So we don't have the same social network as you have here, and it's very common in Denmark also to have a student job and work maybe 15 hours a week outside of university in some kind of other area. So that also makes a big difference.
Work culture. It's interesting to see how the groups, and correct me if I'm wrong, what took a long time was to establish a work culture within the groups, which I think we managed in the end. But this is where, if you take an intercultural perspective and when you design an intercultural program, it's important to take into account that it takes a while to establish a common ground for working together. Because otherwise, I think at the beginning, the English students were a bit confused about what the Danes did, because they weren't really doing anything, and they were gathering all this material, but they weren't really presenting it. And here, or not at the end, but in the middle part, I think the Danes were a bit frustrated because the English students, they would show, they would say like, we can do a presentation tomorrow, but they wouldn't sort of dig into the material. They wouldn't dig into the data they produced. So there was a big frustration. And then in the end, I think it came together very, very well. But you can say,
I was really surprised at how like big participation is here. Like not just in classes, but just like in campus life. It seems like campus has like its whole own culture here. Like in Copenhagen, like at least at CBS, we don't use nearly as much time on campus and like within student life as here. And like it was also really surprising to see like how many people are part of like committees and clubs and like all sorts of campus related organizations. And I thought that was really like surprising and like really seemed like a really cool thing. Because I missed that a bit at CBS, where like there isn't the same campus life.
I think the structure, the idea that we went to Copenhagen first, did some research, and then went to Delhi has turned out, or has proven to be genius. Because I think the insights we've gained, or the access we've had to everyday lives has been extraordinary. And I think that's an experience you can never, you could never achieve that as a tourist. So I think from a research perspective and from a teacher's perspective, this kind of course is something new and something I want to continue working on.
The main takeaways from the whole program, from the DCUC. It's been an amazing 5 weeks. we started in Copenhagen, and we didn't know each other. I didn't know anyone here in this room, and we got a task. We worked together. We spent a month together now, traveling, observing, interviewing, and just analyzing, and but always having the DCUC on our mind. It's been a 24/7 experience, really, but it's been an experience that's just been unforgettable and amazing in Copenhagen as well as in Delhi, in Ghaziabad. We've seen so many interesting things, had so many great experiences, and it'll just be a memory for the whole life. So it's just been great.
Oh,